Hello and welcome to PsychBoost. In this video we'll be looking at descriptive statistics. What do we mean by descriptive statistics? Well, it's the mean, the median and the mode as measures of central tendency, and the range and standard deviation as measures of dispersion. We'll also evaluate briefly each of these measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion. Let's say as a psychologist you've collected your data. This is called your raw data. You might want to describe this data in a way that other psychologists might find more easy to understand than a big list of figures. So we might use descriptive statistics. We might want to say what the average score is. We might also want to say how spread out the scores are. And there's different ways of expressing this figure. We can talk about different measures of central tendency, and we can also talk about different measures of dispersion. So let's talk about measures of central tendency first. We have, of course, which you should remember from GCSE, the mean, the median, and the modal value. The mean we calculate by adding all the scores together and then dividing by the number of scores. The median is simply we list out all the scores and we pick the middle value after we've ordered the scores from lowest to highest. If we have an even number of scores, we then give the value in between the two middle scores. And then for the modal score, we'll say the score that was the most common score in the group of data. Now, each of these measures of central tendency have their own benefits and their own weaknesses. So when we talk about the mean, we say what's quite good about the mean is that it does make use of all the values in its calculation. Big problem with the mean, however, is that if you get a few extreme scores, this can dramatically shift the mean away from the majority of the other scores. You might, for example, then use a median, which isn't affected by extreme scores in the way that the mean is. But we might criticise the median as not being as sensitive to the actual values of the scores as the mean was. Another option is to give the modal score. Again, the mode isn't affected by extreme scores, because of course, being extreme, they wouldn't be particularly common. One downside of using the mode, though, is there can really be multiple modes. You might have a few different scores, which have the same number of occurrences. So those are our measures of central tendency, and an advantage and a disadvantage of each. We could also talk about how our scores are spread out. So for this, we might talk about the range, and we might talk about the standard deviation. Now, our range is very simple to calculate, which is this advantage. The range shows the spread of the results by taking away the lowest score from the highest score. Now, one big advantage of the range is, as I say, it's very easy to calculate. But one weakness is an extreme score will dramatically change the range. Now, a more precise way of measuring dispersion would be to show the standard deviation. In this calculation, all the values are taken into consideration in its number. It is still affected by extreme scores, but less so than the range. But one disadvantage is it is harder to calculate than the range. So I hope you enjoyed this PsychBoost video. Please, if you haven't already, click subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a like. If you have any questions at all, pop them in the comment box and I'll try and get back to you. If you'd like the free resources that come with this course, I put the posters and some other things into this Dropbox link. Until the next video.